Once they hatch, you'll be able to get skyfin pets and several mana ray mounds.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Lions Pride Tavern podcast number 64. Tonight we find out how we did in this weekend's last Tomb of Sargeras raid. And the most exciting news of all, Antorus the Burning Throne. But before all that, let's start off with introductions. I'm your host, Stafford. I play a Dwarven Beastmaster Hunter in the awesome game World of Warcraft. Next up, we have JobUi.
Hi, I'm JobUi. I play a Worgen Frost Mage, for now.
I hear a question coming, and there's Lorelei.
Hi, it's Lorelei, your Knight of Fury Warrior.
No changes there?
I might try arms. I'm going to have to work on it.
Epistle!
Double your pleasure with two epistles, a Draenei Protection and a... What is my other one? Dwarven Protection.
Warrior.
They're both protection. No, they're both protection paladins.
Oh.
That's why
Yeah,
I'm a double pally.
It's
double
a double
pally.
pally. And unfortunately, again, no Tapachino for tonight. She is actually going to take a hiatus until after the holidays. She's got a lot of family and stuff going on. And we're going to have a special guest that's going to take her place starting next podcast. So be looking forward to that. She's a hoot. All right,
We're getting an
JobUi.
Owlin.
Well, how you guys been this week? You guys have a good,
I've been good.
good Thanksgiving? Everybody did all right?
Yeah, I had two of them. A little over turkey.
I gotta say, Thanksgiving, actually the day after Thanksgiving is one of my favorite days of the year.
Turkey sandwich.
Oh man, there is.
I'm with you.
There are a few things quite as sublime as a leftover turkey sandwich. I absolutely adore them, and I look forward to it all year long. You know, I'm all thankful with my family, and then I'm just like eager to go to bed so I can wake up the next day and have a turkey sandwich.
I'm not kidding. I had mine for breakfast this morning. I couldn't wait till lunch. So I got to ask, do you put leftover dressing
on my
sandwich? Yeah.
No, I'm
sorry, not dressing, stuffing.
Well, it depends. I mean, dressing would be cooked outside the bird, stuffing inside the bird. But I don't make stuffing. I make dressing. But no, I don't. I just go. It's just Hellman's mayonnaise, bread, a little bit of salt, and a lot of turkey.
Oh my God! If I could only get Hellman's.
Oh,
you get Hellman's out there?
No,
they get Best Foods.
Yeah, Best Foods. I can get it through my chef. But I'm not working there anymore, so, but I have to get it in like a gallon.
Right. Now, here's the funny thing. I live a little bit east of you, but not super far east of you.
Right.
And I live right on the border of where you can get Hellman's and where you can get Best Foods. So at our store, we get both Best Foods and Hellman's. And so I can get both. Interestingly enough, it's owned by the same company.
Yeah, I know, right? It's unreal.
I'll bet you could order it from Amazon.
Oh, you might be able to do that.
Oh, I'm sure you could. They sell everything.
They do.
So, Epistle, I know you don't really celebrate Thanksgiving in Canada, but did you do anything special?
Yeah, actually, we do celebrate Thanksgiving, but I'm so over it. That was weeks ago. We do it much earlier because, we harvest earlier and, we want to fatten up for winter much earlier.
You kind of have to, right? So,
of necessity. That being said, it's been unseasonably mild, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it sure has. It was the first time in a long time that I can remember we had our windows open in the house for Thanksgiving. It was like 70 degrees here.
Yeah, it was unseasonably warm here too. We hit like 63, I think.
Yeah, we're in the 40s and 50s. It gets up to 60, but I think we're going to get slammed this year with a really cold winter.
I hope so.
Me too.
Yeah,
I like cold.
I like it. I like 4 seasons. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I'm not. There are some people I know they like to live in the southern climates where it's like they have the hot season and then the hot and wet season, and then But I like to live in places where there are 4 seasons, 4 distinct seasons.
Yeah, I know. In the middle of winter, I like going and visiting somebody who lives in one of those one-season places.
Yeah, you get a little colder than both JoBui and I since you're north of us.
A little bit.
Just a little sometimes. Well, the only thing is when it gets down to minus 40 Celsius. Can't translate offhand, but it's actually, I think it's Celsius and Fahrenheit is pretty similar. When it gets down to that, overnight lows, and then never gets above minus 20 for a week or two, that's a nasty cold snap.
Yeah.
When it goes on longer than a week. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oddly
those
enough,
electric things you plug them in. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
oddly enough, minus 40 is actually minus 40 in both Fahrenheit and Celsius.
Yeah, that's the same. The 20 is what I'm not sure about. What's minus 20 in Fahrenheit?
Oh, yeah, because Laura, you go out to your car and you'll go, "Ura." And that's as far as it goes. And you're like, oh, I'm going to be late to work today.
Well, if it gets over a foot or a foot here, we're shut down for days. So it's just that nobody drives except the crazy people. And then it's funny. I grew up in the north, so having snow up to your knees, well, that's just an everyday occurrence. But down here, it's just hilarious. It's just oh my God, we got to shut down everything for 4 days.
It snowed one time out in Seattle, and it was like a half an inch. And there were cars sliding off the road, and, people are chaining up. I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah, we don't put chains because there's no point. But, people are out there like, I don't know what to do.
Their chains were like cable chains,
Yeah,
they're not really chains.
I lived in Florida for a time, and we got sleet one day. And they canceled all the schools. I mean, it wasn't even snow. It was just sleet that was like melting as soon as it was hitting the ground. And they're like, no, it's too dangerous. I'm like, what's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
And they're just not prepared, I guess, is what it comes down to,
Well, yeah, because a lot of our budget, we have snow plows that have sanders on the back. And you go down to Florida and they go, what's a snow plow?
Yeah.
Oh, we got something in a city you might not. We actually have bike lanes that are kept clear all winter that actually get sprayed down with a de-icer so that bikes can go all year round.
That's crazy.
People ride bikes
even in the minus 40 temperature. Yep.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so I'm just curious. So maybe you can shine some light on this, Epistle. So in the early times of man, when we were coming over here, what made the Canadians go, hey, let's stay up here where it's extremely cold all year?
Character.
Because I was thinking because there wasn't anybody else, or there was fewer people up there, more land. Speaking of snow machines, you guys have heard, like where places put up like, hey, name our boat, like Boaty McBoatface and stuff like that, that they ask the internet to name a boat or whatever, a train. There was a town that asked people to name their new little snowplow machine, which is yellow. And so the internet named it the Gritsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Anti-Slip Machine.
That's nice.
That was good.
Too funny. All right, well, let's get rolling along. We're going to talk about our last raid of this particular raid group. I mean, we're no longer going back to the Tomb of Sargeras. So, right. JoBui, cap us off. How did we do?
We did okay. It wasn't a spectacular raid for us. We ran into some... We got stuck on a boss that we've been plowing through most weeks lately. We did change it up a little bit. We went through Goroth, Demonic Inquisition, Harjatan, and then a lot of times in the past we would go Sisters of the Moon right after that, and then Mistress Sazine. and we kind of changed that up a little bit. It was by my request because I got sick of we do Harjutan, which was an AoE fight, and then we go to Sisters of the Moon, which is more of a single target fight, and then we go to Mistress Azine, which is an AoE fight, and I just didn't want to use that many tomes, and we could go to either Mistress or Sisters. So I suggested we go to Mistress first. We did, downed Mistress Azine. I think there were, what, did we wipe on once on Mistress Azine?
I think so. I think we did it twice.
Yeah, I think we wiped once and then we downed it the second time, and then we went on to Sisters of the Moon, and we got stuck on Sisters of the Moon for the rest of the painfully stuck on Sisters for the rest of the raid on the first night. And we came back on the second night, down Sisters of the Moon, I think first pull.
A very messy one, but we got it.
Yeah, I mean, we lived, we got it down.
Well, speak for yourself. I don't think I survived that one.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. No, you were down.
Yeah, he went down.
The one tank, but we pushed it over and went on to Desolate Host, took down Desolate Host, and then we went on to Maiden of Vigilance, where we spent the rest of the evening wiping on Maiden of Vigilance.
10 times.
10 times.
You're kidding.
No, we got very close on. We got very close on one pull just before we took our break, and then it went downhill from there. There was no pulls that got that close again. There was like a little bit of refinement in people's mechanic work and stuff like that, but I gotta say, by the end of the raid, I was actually just glad to say goodbye to the Tomb of Sargeras and the Maiden of Vigilance, and it's like we never have to call this fight again. Yay!
Bury your memories.
Yep, just all right. Like that didn't happen. And then, so yeah, that was our week.
Well, last raid, didn't we? I sort of wanted to ask this. Didn't we get all the way to the last boss on Heroic before the new content came out?
You're talking about on Nighthold?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got AOTC in Nighthold. Just before the week before the new one came out, we got AOTC in Nighthold.
Yep.
Yeah, and it seems that fight was the one that really held us back. Sisters, we were choking on that constantly, and that's the thing that didn't get us further on. Not that the next couple fights wouldn't have been tricky in themselves.
Well, so Friday we did 6 polls on Sister and ended there. And then Saturday we did 1 poll, or I'm sorry, we did 5 polls on Friday and then 1 poll on Saturday. 1 wipe on Saturday. Yeah, 1 wipe on Saturday and then we downed her.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things. I was, on the Maiden of Vigilance fight, there was, I believe it was, I don't remember if it was Sky Chaser or Jalexi that asked, one of them asked about where the hammer falls. And I guess they didn't realize that where the hammer falls, it puts down a bit of an AoE damage on the ground right underneath it where the tank is at. So, and they didn't know really that you should stack up a little bit further back from that. And once that was explained, we were getting through some of the transitions a bit smoother with less damage going out to everybody, which was an improvement. But there was just every pull, there was some flub that happened somewhere. Somebody stood in a swirly, or 2 or 3 people stood in a swirly, or somebody went to the wrong side with the wrong color, or all these missteps in the unforgiving dance that is Maiden of Vigilance.
Well, we did some good work on the lines. I noticed a few times, just people sticking to the lines, and so a lot less people, at least in the first transition, weren't getting a debuff and jumping in the middle.
Right.
Yeah, our second pull was our best pull out of 10.
Was it the second one?
Yes, we got her down to 16. We got Maiden down to 16% on the second pull, and then we did on the 5th pull. We did 43%, but that was 5 minutes long. I'm just looking at the length of time.
Yeah, but also keep in mind that some of those, many of those, were like, okay, we looked at how many people were left, and
was like, no way.
Just kill each other, go get bombs on purpose and blow each other up. Let's wipe it up and try it again.
I do know that I have an interesting story with that because I got the bomb on me. Anyway, and I went to jump in, and I went to turn my angle down because I have a bar that's above my head, and I wanted to see the bomb timer a little more. And when I turned it down, I let go of the button, and it moved me forward. And I jumped early. But at that split second, it was like right at the, I swear to God, it was right at almost between 3 and 2. I fell in, and I dropped, and the bomb went off, and I exploded back up, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to make it. And I got caught right on the rim.
Oh, you got rimmed like I did
Yes.
one time.
Yeah, I actually saw him over there, and he's all like, "Oh, I'm stuck." And I look across, and there's a little thrashing Stafford stuck on the rim of the thing, and I'm like, I wonder if he could shoot the boss from there.
Your only alternative at that point.
Could.
Well, you can't do anything with your tank, but you could shoot. But then the minute you move or anything happens, you're toast. So it's just like you're stuck there.
Well, and then the next time the bombs came off, everybody jumped in, and their explosion knocked me up, but straight up. And I went straight back down.
No.
But we were wiping it anyway, so. But yeah, you can see all that on the live stream. We've actually got quite a bit. It's really impressive. I'm surprised. We've been getting close to anywhere between 30 and 60 views a night during the actual live stream. So there's quite a few people that are watching us. So please, guys, I mean, it's just my point of view, and I spend a lot of time counting the pebbles on the floor. But yeah, come take a look, come take a watch.
Yeah, that might be good if we all do that, so that way we'll actually know what's going on, what the problem is, because the maiden fight really is not that hard.
No,
it was all mechanics. I'm just telling you.
But they're not hard mechanics.
No,
either.
they're not. But it's, we've talked about this before, where the last 3 fights of this particular raid set has always been, if one person messes up, just one, it wipes the whole group, or it'll cascade to wiping. It'll start it. One person not switching sides, and everybody jumps in, and then the tank's got to solo the hammer. Just simple stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think with this last one, JoBui, I think you hit the nail on the head. If we would have had more time, I think we could have got it down, because when we were told to stack with the tank, that's exactly what this team did. They stacked with the tank, and the hammer would come down, and I would literally come out of there backing out with a sliver of health because of the AoE it puts on the ground. But when we decided to stack behind the tank, I would drop 1/3 of my damage, maybe 2/3.
Sure. And I think part of that, I didn't really realize, because I was actually because we were just calling to stack, right? Not specific about where exactly to stack. And so a lot of people were stacking like right on the tank. And I wasn't, and I didn't even really think about it. It didn't occur to me to explain that there's the spot where the hammer hits that puts a circle on the ground that does damage to people, and the tank is supposed to absorb that, but that it puts a cone out that we have to help absorb. We don't have to help absorb the actual hit. We help absorb the splash damage that comes off of it.
But I think that's what people were thinking.
I know.
Is that they had to help absorb the hit also.
Yeah, maybe.
You don't. Well, I know they do, because I think it was even said, we got to stack up and take that hit, from the hammer, but it's not actually the hit from the hammer. It's actually the splash damage that goes out in the radius.
Yeah, but and people, once we got that done, that was going much cleaner. People weren't getting squished by that hammer as much.
Yeah, we got much further with a whole lot less damage and more mana for the healers, and just everything generally all around better.
Yeah, and it was just the back and forth. It's like, did we do this particular did we do this particular phase? Because each transition is like a phase, I suppose, on that one. Did we do this particular transition cleanly or not? And did everybody do the dance steps properly? And if yes, we got through it with very few deaths or very few problems and not a lot of heavy hits to people's health and stuff like that. It was very smooth. But then if somebody misstepped on some of the dance, then it would just fall apart, like just a cascade failure.
Yeah. And I don't know about going beyond Maiden, but I know that Maiden was the start. The last 3 bosses, they're all that way. They're all unforgiving.
Yeah, I don't. I had no illusions about if we got past Maiden. I was just gonna be like, "Yay, we got past Heroic Maiden. We're not getting past Heroic Avatar." That'll be where we finish off the night. So I had no illusions about that, and it's not that I didn't think people could eventually get it, but I didn't think like what time we had left was going to be enough for Avatar, because Avatar with, he's got like the 3 little shadow marks, I forget what they're called, and then there's tornadoes and stuff, and it gets more complicated, and it's that tanks can't take the boss into the lava like they were on normal, and it's a lot harder than it was on normal.
Yeah, so according to the logs, we downed Desolate Host at 7:12, and we started up on Maiden at 7:30. So we had a complete hour. We took our break right in there. But we had a complete... I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, we took our break after we got to her.
I thought we had 1 pull first.
Yeah, we did. We had 2, I thought. 2 pulls on Maiden.
On Maiden?
And then we took our break. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, because the first one was only 3 minutes long.
Right.
And then the second one was the one we did the best on.
Right. That was the one right before break.
Yep, and then we took our break. But...
we should check with our raiders what people are doing on their breaks, because apparently it's not helping us.
I have to say, I thought I mentally jinxed us on that one, on the one right before break, because it was going really smooth. It was like people were doing the mechanics, and I was like, oh, they're all doing the mechanics, and I mentally thought, just hold on through this next transition, and we've got it. I didn't say it out loud, but I thought it, and then like we got through, the transition happened, we moved to the other side, and then I just watched it like, I don't know, it was like everyone suddenly lost their minds and started doing everything wrong. And I was like, whoa, it's so close.
Yeah. It was a very interesting way to end this particular raid set. I mean, it's been fun, don't get me wrong. But the question I'm going to pull out to all you guys, one at a time, and we'll start off with JoBui, is which boss out of all of them, normal and heroic, did you like doing the best?
Oh boy. I've got to say that my favorite is the Kill Jaden fight on normal, because we never saw it on heroic. I really enjoyed the Kill Jaden fight. I liked the way it was so, like, the phases were so different from each other. I thought it was really interesting. There were some really hard mechanics that the group had to get through. It wasn't like a rinse repeat fight very much at all, and I thought that made it very fun, and it was a very satisfying boss to kill. Like when you down the boss finally, it was very you felt like you accomplished something, because you had to go through a lot to get to it, and so I'd have to say that one was my favorite.
See, now I really think it might be your favorite, because the first time we downed it, you had talked us all the way through the fight up to a certain point, and all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, we're at that point, and I haven't explained anything past that. And JoBui's scrambling, just frantically yelling out commands and audibles, and we downed her. Or him.
Yeah, that was a bit of a hectic moment. It was a little bit of a panic as a person who calls the fight and explains it, because I was like, oh crap, I never explained this part.
but you did a great job on the fly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's your favorite.
Maybe that was pretty exciting at that moment, to see to be making the calls and everybody's doing it, and we just downed the boss. I was like, wow, we did it, and everybody's cheering, and we had a great time. It was a very satisfying kill.
Yeah, and that was our first kill. I mean, that it really made a difference. So,
all
right,
you might be right.
Yeah, Lorelei, your favorite boss?
My favorite fight actually is Maiden. I really liked that. I liked all the mechanics on it. And once I got the side thing down and got the mechanics, I just thought it was a really easy fight for me. But I know a lot of people don't like that one, but I really enjoyed it. I just like, having to go on that one little track and, not having to use the whole platform, but I thought it was a really different kind of fight.
Yeah, it's definitely different, all right. And I'm sure this one will come back up on my next question. But we got to hit Epistle up.
You see, if I were a more patient, kind person, I would say I liked Maiden too. But I just got frustrated with the things that went wrong. So no, my favorite would be Mistress Sazine. I love the chaos of that one. The total mobility, so as a tank, you're constantly moving. You've got to anticipate what the other tank's doing. You've got to watch the ground. You've got to watch things flying through the air at you. You've got to watch debuffs, cross taunting. It's probably the most challenging and interesting tank fight in the whole instance. So that's why I enjoyed that one.
All right. See, I'm agreeing with you. I really like Sazine because I'm ex-Navy, so I like the water part, and that was just a cool fight where you got a shark jumping through and you got a big whale sucking you in, and you got to deal with octopus squid things, and then there's that stupid Murloc face jumps on your shoulder. I didn't like that.
I still don't know the Murloc. I still don't know the Murloc dynamic because as a tank, you never see them. You guys keep talking about it, but I have no idea what you mean.
I always seem to get the stupid thing when we're done having the jellyfish come in. Because the jellyfish comes in, you stand in that, you get stunned, and it'll jump off you. I always get
phase
it,
3.
And then I have to keep the damn thing for, the whole 2 minutes.
Right.
So it's always after you. I should watch our podcast, or rather our live stream, because I'll see a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, did not like that at all. But I really love the beauty of that fight. I mean, I've always liked, I didn't like the, actually being underwater, like when we did that whole swimming area. I don't even remember what that was called, but I hated that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? But I did enjoy in Outland where they had the underwater dungeon that you had to actually swim out there, dive down, go through the little whirlpool, and you almost, run out of breath getting there. You pop up and then you go in those dungeons. I enjoyed those because it's just like, you're walking along, you're splashing water and stuff. That was cool. And that one had a big octopus that sucked on the side, and then you got really big, and I like those kind of fights, the underwater ones. Those are kind of neat. But so the other question is the least favorite. JoBui?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Goroth, just because it's such a simple, I understand it's the first fight, and it's not very complex, but it's just I don't know, it's a little dull, it's not that interesting. I actually like Maiden, but I don't like watching
our
people
group in Maiden.
I just don't like watching people screw up the mechanics in Maiden, but I like the fight itself. But the Goroth fight I felt was a little lackluster. I mean, it's more or less. I mean, I kind of stand there. I make sure I don't step in the spots that are going to turn into the pillars, and then I attack the boss. And then, I've got the circle. I just move away from the pillars. Now he's going to throw a ball at me. I got to stand behind the pillar. He's going to do the AoE thing. I stand behind the pillar. The boss is now going over to this corner. All right, do it all over again. It's not very interesting to me. So it's just, it's what we start off at. We go, we do it, we get through it, we move on to the next one. So I'd say that's my least favorite.
Oh, okay, I get it. You surprised me there because I figured you were going to bring Maiden was going to be your least favorite, and that was because it is difficult mechanics. But
no, I love Maiden. Maiden's fun for me. I mean, I'm good at it, right? It's just the people that aren't good at it that
makes it frustrating.
They can make it frustrating. It's like 30 people, and one person goes, "Oh, it was my left foot, not my right foot." Oh,
and we are all hokey poked.
Or the one person that goes, "Oh, Fell's on the other side. It's always on the other side for my group."
oh,
Hey.
Yeah, I know.
I messed up on that maybe one time.
No, it wasn't
Well,
you.
no, a
We
lot of
even
people
caught
No,
some of
came
that
in.
last night.
That was
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I
Yeah.
wasn't there. I wasn't there last.
Yeah, what?
No,
we
this
had-
wasn't a Lorelei specific poke there.
No, it
Yes,
wasn't.
it was.
I thought I did pretty well
No.
having to remember two different sides.
But we did have somebody last night. It was brought in. It was somebody who was apparently not raiding and a little bored, wanted to come raid with us. Normally a heroic clear raider or maybe even mythic raider, I'm not certain. And we were like, we do the fell on this side and the light on that side. And I'm like, you can see the star marker and the moon marker. And
But we
so
never
they're like,
said it.
well, maybe we didn't.
It's the DBM marker is so easy. It's on your head.
I know.
And it's like, how can you not see the three things on your head?
Yeah, but they were like, but the colors on the boss. I was like, yeah, but that's not how we do it. So whatever. Like, just do it the way we do it. We're not changing it the last minute for you nameless person who just came with us tonight.
That was one of our raiders, one of our long-term core raiders. That it was her daughter. So yeah, and she did say, I'm the one who screwed that up because I'm used to it on the other side, and I just, it. And I get it. It's muscle memory. You go, oh, we always go to this side. You see that a lot in LFRs. Well, I should say you see the people with muscle memory in the LFRs. The people who have actually done it in normal, heroic, and above that go into an LFR, you can tell because they're the ones avoiding the mechanics where everybody else is going, what the hell was that?
That's why I can't take Lorelei into LFR. It just makes me angry.
All right, Lorelei, your least favorite.
My least favorite is heroic Sazine. I like the normal one, but I don't like. Let's throw it's one of those. It's to have everything go in the fight and try to throw in a mechanic where you have to stand still, but you're moving. And I think it was just silly.
Okay, I give you that one. I mean, I like it because it gets so hectic at the end. As a hunter, I just keep running.
I do too, but as a melee, it's pretty, you're being pretty useless if all you're doing is running around trying to avoid things.
Right? Okay, Epistle, least favorite.
I think I've probably complained about this a few times. You won't be surprised. It's Fallen Avatar. It's brainless tanking for me. I walk in there on the corporeal side, grab the boss in the ads, and then just don't stand and stuff.
Wait, you mean Desolate Host?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do mean Desolate Host.
I was like, he's not explaining Fallen Avatar at all.
No.
I like the heroic version of that. That's a really cool fight.
I'm like, wait, how do we get to the...
yeah, Avatar is a little bit more interesting, although it's probably my second least favorite. But no, yeah, it's Desolate Host I'm talking about because it is, from my perspective, just tank and spank and really dull.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Because that's the advantage of this group and having this podcast is that we each have our own perspective of the way we view things. So that's cool.
I wonder what the healing favorite would be. I personally, if I was a healer, which I am not, and I've never played a healer, I would go with. I think I would go with Sisters of the Moon because there's a heal check in there that is like the healers get to shine for a moment, which is like saving the raid from those heal absorption shields that go out. So if I was a healer, I think that would be my favorite, but it's hard saying.
Well, in your best Tap voice, let's hear you hear from Tap.
I don't think I can do a Tap voice. I'm like, well, if I pop my Twinket on the Sisters of the Moon. We're twinking and running.
I'm not sure you're pulling off a Bostonian, is it? Accent?
No, I don't think I can do her accent. No,
not
really.
At all. Yep. Oh, awesome. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the new raid. What do we got? So Antorus the Burning Throne.
Before we start talking about Antorus the Burning Throne, I would like to put this out there because I made the mistake myself this week. Next week, if you're capable, a lot of you raiders are, if you do a +10 mythic dungeon next week after Antorus the Burning Throne comes out, on December 5th, when you open up your class hall chest, you will get a piece of gear that is significantly higher than you would normally get out. I think it's going to be like 950 or 955 piece of gear. Plus, it has a chance to be higher than that, I guess. So next week, I guess the week of this podcast, it's a good idea to go out and do a mythic +10 or as high as you can manage before the weekly reset, so that you can get an extra powerful piece of gear out of your class hall chest that week.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be this week with the new raid coming out, so I went and did a +10, and I was like, so what is it, a 950 or a 955? And the dude was like, that happens on December 5th, and I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah,
So
you got to do it after it comes out, yeah.
So I can tell you how I'm preparing for next week's raid?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to put my feet up, relax, take it easy, not think about Warcraft at all until Friday night, and then I'll go in and go into an instance fresh and feeling like it'll be all new to me.
I think he's poking fun at
Wait
you,
a minute.
JoeBuoy.
I'm hearing somebody gnashing their teeth through the internet.
That sounds classic.
Oh, that's my fear for a lot of people.
I'm trying that new approach. I've got that document going for our raid group, and I'm hoping people are looking at it. I just updated it today with some new information. I'm really hoping folks look it over or start doing some research on that.
Well, I do know Fat Boss has the videos up.
So does Hazel Nutty. Has most of them.
Started watching the Fat Boss one, but I'm going to watch both of them.
I'm liking the Hazel Nutty ones for a shorter overviewy kind of thing, and I'm liking the Fat Boss ones for a little bit more in-depth detail about stuff.
Well, okay, so are strategies the same then, or are they're slightly different? Because a lot of times, depending on who you watch, the strategies can be just a little bit different.
Well, in some ways, it's just mechanics we're really looking for at this stage, right?
Yeah, more or less. The strategies, Hazel Nutty doesn't really propose a lot of strategy. She talks about mostly mechanics and about how to handle individual mechanics. Like this mechanic looks like this, it does this, you should do this with it, kind of thing. Whereas Fat Boss is more like this mechanic, they do all that, they explain what the mechanic is, how the mechanic works, and then they tell you, and here's a strategy that we use to defeat that mechanic. So Hazel Nutty doesn't always tell you that. So it's a little bit different. But they're both good in different ways. I think I like the Hazel Nutty ones are like they're more succinct, a little bit less in, like I said, less in depth, but they tell your average player most of what they need to know going in.
Yeah, like fuchsia is a bad color this time.
Right.
Yeah, fuchsia.
Oh, and Wowhead has their stuff up now. They finally got their page up, their strategy guide, so that's available.
Yes, I saw that. I was actually reading that earlier. That's
We're
what
going to
made
have
me,
to do some grouping up things, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and there's, some of these new fights, from what I've seen so far, they look pretty cool, and different than what we've done before. There's one that's kind of a tower defense fight, where we don't actually ever fight the boss, or like the main boss or whatever. It's the whole fight is kind of a tower defense thing. It's like a run here, kill some stuff there, run over here, kill some stuff there, and we're kind of like the defense on the tower defense kind of thing. It should be an interesting and fun fight. I'm actually looking forward to most of them.
Kind of like a don't let the mobs through kind of thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Where
interesting.
Well, it's don't let the mobs kill something else kind of thing, or something to that effect. But it's pretty interesting. It's one of the first 5. I believe it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's the Antoran High Command one. Oh no, wait. No, it's I think it's Portal Keeper Hezebel is the one that's the that's going to be the tower defense-y one, which is kind of interesting.
So, did you see that they have the Pantheon trinket, and it's item level 1000?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it drops from Antorus, and then he's the last boss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, there's Argus the Unmaker, is the last boss of the raid.
Oh yeah. It drops from Argus. Yeah. No,
Right.
I'm sorry, I said Antorus, but I meant Argus.
Yeah, Aman'Thul's Vision, that one of the new trinkets, because there's more than one.
Yep. 1000 item level.
Yeah, and I think the other ones there are other items that drop, and they're not legendary, but they can be upgraded to I think the 1000 item level or very close to it. But yeah, I mean, I think all of our gear is hopefully going to go away.
Yeah, I guarantee
all new
it
gear.
will. I mean, it has to. It really has to, though. I mean, what else would there be to look forward to? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People complain that the first green item that drops in a new expansion is going to take away your gear. Well, yeah, because what would be the point of doing the expansion if it didn't?
And they always say that, but of course it's usually about 3/4 of the way through leveling that I start really getting rid of my gear as a raider.
As a raider.
Yeah. Is that it usually lasts for a long time, sometimes almost until I'm done leveling.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment, because that's what happened the last time. I mean, I didn't start getting rid of my gear until I was almost 110.
Right. And the really nice thing, I mean, this next raid, on normal, the gear starts off at 930 plus. That's the base level normal gear. And so, I mean, I've got a lot of gear that is above 930 now. I've had some good luck on Titan forging here and there, but it's going to be really nice, seeing these pieces of gear drop, that are, ready to replace the gear that I've been wearing for what seems like a long time now.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be fun. Anybody else got any wits of wisdom they want to throw out there for the new raid group?
Well, I will say I found a new add-on after last week, which I've started to use and I'm finding very handy.
What's that?
Yeah, it's called Exorsus, EXORSUS. Basically, it tracks raid cooldowns. I found it really useful to be able to see, for example, when we've got a Iron Bark available, when there's a raid-wide healing cooldown ready to go. So it's easy to call those out now, and to know if there's somebody's got one left, who it is, and when we can use it. Because sometimes it's easy to lose track of those things, even if we have a system, which we usually do.
That's funny, because I've been using it for the last year.
Yeah, the Exorcist raid tools are really handy.
Yes, that's what tells that when I have my little tattletale come up about who doesn't have their food buff or who doesn't have their potions or their flasks. Yeah, that's the raid tools does that. Exorcist. I got turned on to that by a raid leader from the old raid group I used to run with. That was really gung ho. I'm just gonna put that gently there. They were pretty intense people, and I asked him. I said, "So how do you know if somebody's using their flasks for pre-pot? How do you know, what their item level is, and whether they're, they didn't have their enchants or that on their gear?" And he's like, "Oh, it's all in raid tools." And so he told me about it, and I went and got it. I can see it all. I just don't say anything, because I don't want to be one of those raid bosses. Yeah, I'm not want to be a raid boss. I don't want to be one of those raid leaders.
We'll go and fight Stafford.
We're gonna down Stafford tonight. That's what we're gonna do.
Stafford, the hunter.
But that sounds like a good one for the healers to have if it's tracking cooldowns.
Yeah, even just to track that for each other, they'd be able to know what's up.
Yep.
I've used it. But I usually I've only had it installed or active on nights that I'm having to solo raid or raid lead, like when you guys have been out of town or something, then I'll like load that up and use that as a handy tool. But otherwise, I turn it off because it's one less thing I have to pay attention to during the raid.
Well, what's nice about it is, all those times when somebody accidentally polls and, it's like, who is that? And nobody says anything. It tells you exactly who it is. It brings it up in my chat window. So I know exactly who does what, but I just, like I said, I just don't want to be one of those, it's good information, but yeah, you don't necessarily have to put it out there that, oh yeah, JobUi polled again, whatever.
Yeah, because that happens all the time.
All the time.
Well,
I step to the left,
Fortunately, it doesn't say, because it's my add-on, it doesn't say Stafford polled.
Nice.
All right, guys, we're approaching that time. I hear the music. It's time for Lorelei's Pet Battle Minute.
All right. Hey, many pets and some mounts can be found from rares while you're busy questing. So now's a good time to look for some groups and add to your stables. The Cross Gazer looks like a mini beholder and can be bought from a new turn-in vendor, Oryx the All-Seer. You'll find him in a cave under a bridge by the lava, south of the Spirit Crucible. He'll give you multiple quests that will reward you with a variety of items, but be ready for a grind. You'll need 1,000 intact demon eyes for this pet. Commenters have reported that the best place to farm the eyes is a camp immediately to the left of the Spirit Camp. And fell-spotted eggs drop from several of the rares on Argus. Once they hatch, you'll be able to get skyfin pets and several mana ray mounts. Sorry. Since these rares are frequently world quests, it's easy to farm eggs. Don't be discouraged if you don't get one right away. Sooner or later, you'll get a drop. And check the auction house as well. You just might get a good deal and save yourself some time. And that's your Pet Battle Minute for today.
And then there's
Getting Thieves with JobUi.
Goodbye, Tomb of Sargeras. Hello, Antorus the Burning Throne. If you're a raiding DPS player, your number one priority right now should be to learn as much as you can about the upcoming raid. There are 11 new bosses, loads of new mechanics, and all kinds of fun to be had. So take a few minutes out of your day and get yourself ready to raid by watching some boss fight videos from the Burning Throne, or if you prefer to read, then check out the strategy guide from wowhead.com. It is a veritable cornucopia of tips and information about the new raid. There is nothing better to help your DPS in a new raid than walking in with confidence because you're prepared and ready for what is coming next. Your raid leaders and fellow raiders will appreciate the time and effort you put in as well. So learn all you can about Antorus the Burning Throne and be that raid-ready DPS player everyone enjoys and keep getting those deeps.
Cornucopia. Isn't that a star in the Miley Cyrus star system?
Yeah,
No.
probably.
No.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure it's kind of Thanksgiving themed.
It is. It's Thanksgiving themed.
I like that touch there. That's a nice light touch.
And our tank in address.
What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress?
So this week's Come At Me at Tanking Minute is still covering tanking basics this week. The most simple maneuver of all, the tank switcheroo. Usually, this is reserved to raids, but it is one of the most basic tanking patterns. It usually involves a mechanic that you don't want to be in the front of the boss for. Classic would be a sort of a dragon breath or some kind of cleaving effect. So this basic effect, you as a tank grab the boss, face him away in agreed upon direction, and you take the hits for a while. However, usually there's some kind of stacking mechanic or some timing mechanic that means you can't take it forever, and then you just step out while the other tank switches in. But usually you have to be very careful about where the facing goes. So it's just a question of timing that you watch the other off tank come up alongside of you, knowing they're taunting right about the time they get in the front, you rush off slightly to the side. It's as simple as that, just a taunt and run. The real trick in that, of course, is to make sure that you have your timers down. You've got to be looking for the cast bar for this mob. Things like Deadly Boss mods really help you know the timing on that. But that is one of the classic, simplest moves. And I am sure in our new raid, that's going to show up somewhere or other. So think about all these kind of basic tank moves we've been talking about and enjoy the new content and figure out which is your basic tanking move for each of those new bosses. And that's been Come At Me, a Tanking Minute.
So there is no healing minute this week, but next week we do have a surprise guest healer. We have interviewed her before. She'll be taking over Tap into the Healing Minute. I don't know what she'll call it. She'll probably call it Tap into the Healing. But she'll be with us next weekend, so be looking forward to that. But for right now, it's WFN News, Warcraft Stafford News. The Mage Tower is up next at the Broken Shores with fell treasures and power overwhelming. The weekly event.
You should also note that the next one after that, this is a real important one that might come during the week before the next podcast, is the one that gives the legendary items for Class Hall champions.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that one was actually is it scheduled to be on that one?
Yeah, yep. The one
Okay.
that it goes Mage Hall, then the Command Center.
Yeah,
and
Command
it's
Center.
the Worthy Champions is what that one's called.
Yeah, definitely go check that out. So the weekly event is strictly for Lorelei. It's the Pet Battle bonus event.
Yay.
I had him throw that in there for you, Lorelei. It's all my contacts at Blizzard.
Thank you.
WoW tokens, 178 this week in the state, so it didn't change much. It's kind of flatlining. Pilgrim's Bounty ends today, and Blizzard's 13th anniversary ends Thursday. So just to put out the Antorus the Burning Throne release schedule, November 28th, which is tomorrow, the normal and heroic difficulties will release. Then the following week, the mythic difficulty and the first Raid Finder Wing 1. December 19th, Raid Finder Wing 2, January 2nd, Raid Finder Wing 3, and then on January 16th, Raid Finder Wing 4. Apparently they think that Raid Finder needs a lot more time working on their raids.
Well, spread it out a little
I want to
bit.
see that.
Yeah, I do the Raid Finder.
I'll drag my alts in there because who cares?
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I drag my main in there with a who cares, but I'll just muddle through it.
No, I end up whispering the tanks, look, do this, and do that.
Yeah. One of the things I have to say about this Antorus the Burning Throne, by the way, is unlike the Nighthold, the Nighthold had a really great intro quest line that led up to the raid being released. And this one, the last couple of weeks, there's been one little quest where I go talk to dude and he says, go talk to the guy in the cave. And I talk to the guy in the cave and then I watch a little shortcut scene and then that's it. There's no adventuring. There's no extra stuff. And I really felt like they dropped the ball on the intro to this raid. At least compared to the Nighthold.
Compared to past ones.
Yeah, compared to the Nighthold one, which, when they did the Nighthold one, I was like, wow, this is a really interesting quest line that leads right up to the Nighthold. And I thought that was going to be a new thing. And then they kind of did a little less than that for going into Tomb of Sargeras. And now they've done even less than that for going into the Burning Throne.
But I think that's solely because the new expansion's coming out. They got more of their people working on the expansion, so you've got a smaller group of developers working on the content, that's free, because the expansion you're going to pay for, but all this extra content, and my hat's off to Blizzards. I don't know of any game that puts out DLC content like that is so good and will keep you busy for months and months and months, I just don't know of any other games that do that. Do
Or,
you guys know of any?
or
That's
for
the most
13
eloquent.
years.
Yeah, that's the most eloquent defense of they dropped the narrative ball I've ever heard.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're like, oh, they were busy and stuff.
They're
Well,
cranking
but
stuff out
I'm
faster
with
than
you. Yeah,
usual.
I do like the content. Yeah, I'm with Lorelai. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but I just wanted a little bit more meat. It was still cool, but it wasn't as cool. I felt, but I'm sure opinions differ on that. Some people don't care about that going into the next raid. They're just like, I want the next raid.
True. But
Yeah, give me content, give me gear.
yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the next expansion. I'm hoping that it's will be better than what some of the stuff I've read on it. That because people get negative really fast, and I've always found that when people get negative, I kind of enjoy the content then.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole story seems interesting. Like
Yeah.
that other people have come up with ideas about why all of this is happening that are even more interesting.
Right?
And purely on like sometimes there's like the controversial change that comes up that people are like, oh, I hate the controversial change, and I often find myself liking the new controversial change. And this one is the no tier gear going into the next one. The no official.
What? There's no tier gear. Oh man.
No
Yeah.
tier gear. I love it. I love it. I'm looking at my bag full of stuff that's high
Right.
item level that I can't
Yeah.
put on because of tier gear and going, yeah, bring that to me. I
Yeah.
want to put my gear on. If that was implemented right now, my item level would be probably 10 points higher right this minute.
You don't know how close I've come to saying, all right, look, I've got my 4-piece in the last tier and a 2-piece in the previous tier, and I've got pieces that are better than those 2 pieces, but it's the bonus that it gives that is so important. And it's sitting there at 885. It's like, oh god, I can get my item level up even further. I almost a couple of times just went, forget it. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm even going to sell them so they're no longer there.
Yeah, you know what?
Really
I did.
commit.
Back.
I did, and it killed my threat. Everything else is fine. My health pool is much larger, all kinds of great stuff. But yeah, my threat's not as good as it used to be.
Well,
because I
Durag
dropped
probably
my tier
liked
gear.
that.
Well, he's not complaining because I was a little OP there for a while.
Yeah, that's right. He did stop complaining about your threat
You noticed
generation.
that,
Actually,
yeah.
now that you mention that.
Yeah, not the sort of throw my shield and get everything. That's not happening anymore.
Well, it was more of throw my shield, get everything, and then Durag's like, I can't pull threat from you.
It was glorious while it lasted.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's going to be lots of lamentation about the new changes that are going to be made because there always is. But I like it. It keeps it interesting. And plus, I'm kind of sick of everybody needing to get that tier gear and people don't have it yet, and it holds people back and stuff. It should be interesting to see how it plays out, but there's always going to be that certain element, like you said, that just has to be negative about what's going on.
Well, that's the what is it? The type D personality that does not like change. They're very comfortable in what they're doing every single time. There's the people that are sitting on the assembly lines. I put this bolt in this hole. I put this bolt in this hole. I put this bolt in this hole. And they're comfortable with that. And you change it up. You say, okay, now you got to put this bolt in the hole and put a nut on. Oh my God, my life is ruined. I can't do it.
I know Tap was a little upset when I mentioned that she wasn't going to be able to drink and run anymore.
Oh, that did not make her happy.
No, I was like, well, just enjoy it while it lasts. I just wanted you to, savor it while you still have it.
Oh, is that right away? So is that coming up? Like
No,
weeks?
That's an expansion.
That's in the
So
expansion.
she's got.
Yeah,
months
she's
to
got
make
a
that
ways.
done. Yeah,
She's-
long time.
She's got a lot of time to get used to the idea that that's going away.
I just always assume they're going to take most of what I have away, and then I'm never disappointed.
Yeah, right?
Expectations low, then disappointment is low.
Take away the best attack I have. That's okay. You've done it before.
I'm not
Yep.
looking forward to the whole gonna have to get new weapons and stuff, and did I get the weapon drop that's going to be decent and stuff, and I'm not looking forward to that. I really liked that about this particular expansion, and it's going to be back to, oh, did I get the good weapon drop? No? Oh, all right. I guess I've got my lackluster tarnished staff still.
Well, you know what I don't look forward to, and they do this every time, is I just get to the point where I'm really enjoying my spec, and they go, oh, Beastmaster Hunter is the sucky spec now, and you have to go to Marksman.
I don't understand why they do that. They ought to just make them all equal, and then you just do whatever you enjoy doing because it looks cool.
Right. Well, I think it comes down to Blizz has a really, it seems like their balance team has always had a hard time with small moves. Like every balance they make seems to be a drastic move, not like a small adjustment. And I really wish they would just get the, oh, well, we're just going to adjust this a little teeny tiny bit. Okay, now Fire Mage and Frost Mage are, roughly on parity. Maybe this one's a little bit better at single, this one's a little bit better at AoE, but you could play whichever one you want. And I'm not even sure what that other one is. What is that? Arcane? Yeah, who cares about that?
Now, you haven't been in the corporate world, because that's exactly what the corporate world does. Every time there's a CEO change, it's like, okay, you guys are doing fantastic. You got a great thing going on here, but I'm going to change it all up and do it my way.
Right. Well, I know.
And
I would like small moves.
No offense, Epistle. Everything takes.
Well, right. I was going to say, I'm sitting here with my feet back up in a margarita, because it's like, yeah, hey, how much did the Pally spec change last time around in the last expansion? Not really. I still got all the basic pieces, and they still pretty much work the same way. So I'm listening to this going, not my monkey,
just wait.
not my zoo, not my monkeys. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you might have touched on Murphy's Law there, right there.
Hang on, my desk is wood.
All right, guys, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank Charm for all of her beautiful music. Please go visit her website and her YouTube channel. Links are listed in the description below. BenSound at bensound.com for JoBui's Minute. And the music from Vincent Moretto for our beginning and end music. You guys have a wonderful week. Don't take too many turkey sandwiches to work tomorrow. Save some of it for at home. We'll see y'all next week.
See you next week.
See you, folks.
See you, everyone.
If you like this podcast, throw us a like and subscribe to our channel. And please, leave comments or questions below. Maybe we'll answer them on the air next podcast. We are hosted on Podomatic.com. Our website is Lionspridetavern.podomatic.com. Our podcast also airs on iTunes for Apple users, Google Play for Androids, and YouTube. Just search World of Warcraft Lions Pride Tavern podcast. See you next week, and thanks for listening.